Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Out of Shape podcast, where a bunch of retired, washed-up high school basketball players give their garbage takes on sports. I'm Aaron Abrahamson, joined by two of the sexiest co-hosts alive, Drew Johnson, Jacob Goins. Before we get started, we're not going to talk about sports first. We're going to let Jerry just join this, get this discussion going, because, we don't want to just give an hour of sports. We want to have some fun, too. Make you guys mad.
So I was air frying some chicken up, and the only sauce we had left over was some Chick-fil-A sauce. I usually don't go for Chick-fil-A sauce. I usually get the barbecue, but I was trying it and I was thinking it's pretty good. So my question for you guys, is it underrated or is it overrated?
Chick-fil-A sauce?
Yeah.
Drew, you can go first. I know you love Chick-fil-A more than me.
Well, considering the only time I really had Chick-fil-A sauces at LCA because they brought no good sauces over.
Wait, so what do you get at Chick-fil-A? Okay, start off. What sauce do you get at Chick-fil-A?
Barbecue.
You get buffalo? I get honey mustard.
Yes. No one knows about the buffalo sauce at Chick-fil-A.
No, buffalo sauce is a little
clearly
overrated.
if none of us three actually get the Chick-fil-A sauce at Chick-fil-A, it's clearly overrated.
I've had the Chick-fil-A sauce. It's not that Chick-fil-A sauce is good, but I think buffalo is better.
I think if you get Chick-fil-A sauce and that's it, you're weird.
Chick-fil-A sauce is kind of like a vanilla milkshake.
I go buffalo and then Chick-fil-A sauce and then the barbecue sauce.
If you eat your nuggets with Chick-fil-A sauce, you definitely also get a vanilla milkshake.
It's like their signature sauce doesn't compare to like a Cane sauce.
Cane sauce?
Yeah, Cane sauce is signature. Like that's
That's facts.
Cane sauce is better than Chick-fil-A sauce.
Zaxby sauce is really good too.
Zax sauce is good as a former Zaxby's employee. But the thing about Chick-fil-A, Cane's makes their sauce in store.
Yeah.
This just became
I think Cane's is the best out of all three.
Yeah, but Chick-fil-A, their sauce just isn't like, it's just so mild.
Yeah. Well, I like what you said. You can get it in stores. Like I can go to my local Kroger and get it right now. That's what's cool about it.
That is cool, but I mean,
you came for Cane sauce?
No, Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A sauce.
No.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
I'm about to go over to Kroger's and get some Cane sauce.
Clearly,
no, they'd be sold out if they
wins
sold
the
them.
Chicken battle, but the sauce battle, there's
nothing better than some Cane sauce.
Cane's wins the sauce battle. Yeah, Chick-fil-A wins the chicken battle.
All right, we've determined that. Let's nosedive right into this terrible podcast. So All-Star Weekend just happened, but we're not gonna let that affect our plan. So starting off, I want Drew go first, then Jerry, then I'll go. If you were LeBron or Kevin Durant, who would you have drafted? And LeBron is eligible, just not Kevin Durant because he was hurt. So who have you drafted for your All-Star team?
My team, starting at the 1, I did Steph Curry. I feel like that's self-explanatory. I mean, he is, yes. And the All-Star starters, yes. And at the 2 guard, I feel like it might be a little mixed just because he might be, quote-unquote, a little bit out of position. But I'm going with John Morant. John Morant has had an MVP-type season. And I feel like he would – no thoughts on that? Just you want me to keep going?
We'll give our thoughts after. Me and Jerry will give our thoughts after.
Okay, then starting at the 3, it's pretty self-explanatory. It's LeBron. With the 4 being Giannis. At the 5, I chose Jokic. It was kind of a toss-up between Jokic and Embiid because they're both kind of the same player. But I think Jokic shares the ball better, and that's better for a team with shooters like Steph. And when you have different guys like Ja, LeBron, and Giannis, I think Jokic would play better. So I would have Jokic.
It's a very, very solid team.
Yeah. All right, for my 5.
Wait. I had one question. Why wouldn't you draw at the 1 and Steph at the 2?
I think it's a give or take. It kind of depends, like, if you draw different plays for them. Like, if you're trying to get Steph an off-the-ball screen for an open shot, then Ja can bring the ball up.
I don't think it matters between the 2 if they're 1 or 2.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It can be a give or take.
I feel like
they both can move off ball.
I just feel like Ja kind of if he's not bringing the ball up, that means just sitting on the wing.
The only thing is Steph is not as good on defense, and he's kind of smaller, where Jaw is smaller, but he's more athletic, so he can probably defend the two better.
That's fair. You have a very good team, very understanding team. So, Jerry, do you have any do you have a different team?
I do. I have actually two positions different. At the one, obviously, Steph Curry,
Me as
greatest
well.
shooter of all time. Number two, I went for a pure shooting guard, best mid-range in the game right now, DeMar DeRozan.
Very good pick.
I mean, he's playing MVP caliber basketball right now. If it wasn't for Embiid, but at 3, obviously it's gonna be LeBron, 4 Giannis, and then my 5 is Joel Embiid. I think you need a pure center that can body anybody down low, and he can do that to anybody. He's not afraid of any competition down low, and that's my 5.
Neither am I. What? All right. You have a very solid team, but I don't know. Do you have any takes before I give mine?
No, because like literally on my notes, I had Embiid next to Jokic with a question mark, just because I think it is a give or take on what you want. If you want more of a scoring center, then I think you definitely go Embiid. But like I said, when you have such all stars on your team, Jokic is the better passer, and he can score. Like he's averaging like 26 and 13 on the season. Like
Yes.
obviously he can still score. So that's what I would say. But, I mean, Embiid and Jokic are honestly a toss-up. Like if I was starting a franchise, I don't know who I would take.
Probably LeBron.
Yeah.
Whenever you said DeMar and Embiid on the same team, I'm thinking
I also had
there should be
DeMar
no
first.
assists the whole game.
You have LeBron, idiot.
Yeah, but you want LeBron to get your only 10 and the rest are just running around just ISO the whole
LeBron
time?
can do that all. LeBron can do it all.
So you have DeMar, an ISO player, Giannis, who has no off ball. If Embiid, just who's not if that ball goes in the post, you might as well run back on defense.
We're scoring it. Same with DeMar.
Yeah,
DeMar
but,
gets
I
that in the
mean,
mid-range. He's not missing.
you have a very. I mean,
I had
I feel like
originally I had Jaw at the 1 and DeMar at the 2, but then I was like, you gotta have the ability to space because you gotta have shooters.
I
So
just
can't
that's
feel
why
like
I plugged in Steph, because Steph is arguably, he's the best shooter of all time, and he's a better career player. But Steph hasn't had an up and down season this year, and he hasn't scored as much as he like normally does.
There's
So
only
that's
like
why I was like a little bit.
Well, yeah. Well, Steph started off with everybody's like, he's the MVP. Like the only thing he'd have to be atrocious for the rest of the season in order not to win MVP, and he's been playing atrocious.
there's only like a couple.
He has
bad
been, but
picks.
he's still Steph Curry. I mean, the dude can shoot.
Before I give mine, there's only like one bad pick you can have in this whole thing because the 10 players that you got to pick from are really good. Someone had Andrew Wiggins in their top. No one's gonna have Andrew Wiggins in their top 5. Also, what I forgot to hit on Drew's is Ja Morant sucked in the All-Star game. So is he really good?
Okay, but I don't agree with. I mean, you can say he sucked in the All-Star game, but
maybe the reason Ja is so good is because he thrives around a bunch of other role players.
wrong.
It's like you could say like
That is
like the same thing with Russ, but I don't agree with you.
no. The reason Desmond Bain has thrived so much is because of Jaw's improvement.
All right,
Desmond
all right.
Bain is also
I'm just saying that
had a
before I give
crazy
you my
season.
you guys are really gonna disagree with one of my picks, but boy, do I love my shooters.
Because if Jaw's playing with a bunch of role players, then Jaw would be getting double teamed and wouldn't be putting up the MVP caliber numbers he's putting up right now.
No, all right, we'll touch on it later. But Memphis has a great supporting cast right now. Anyway, boy, do I love my shooters. At my first pick, if I'm not my first pick, but as my guard position, I'm picking as my point guard. I'm going Trae Young.
Oh,
so you want an off-brand Steph Curry?
I want listen to this backcourt: Trae Young and Steph, 1 and 2. Who you're gonna have to pick him up? You're gonna have to pick him up from half court line. What team wants to do that?
dude, it'll be 150 to 140 every game.
Good. Well, guess what? In the backcourt, I got LeBron, Giannis, Embiid. So they're gonna if they beat him in the front court, they're not, or if they beat him in the backcourt, they're not beating him in the front court. That's the best defensive players of all time.
I think everyone can agree LeBron and Giannis and Steph are in everybody's lineups.
Yeah,
Three best players on this.
Even Embiid, like Jokic and Embiid are both really good players, but
yeah, those only two centers you'd want. I think that shooting guard position is the one that
we
can disagree on.
We had Trey, Ja. Even you can throw Tatum in there. Like you can just throw anyone in there.
Tatum has been, but I don't see Jason Tatum can't play the two.
Yeah,
Tatum's had a good season though.
Well, if you
but he has had a good
one,
season.
That's more of a
is he going
Jaylen
to play
Brown
over?
position.
Put LeBron.
Is he going to have over LeBron and Giannis?
Put LeBron at the one. I was going to cheat. I was going to do that, but that's kind of like cheating. Anyway, as we say that, we gave our best players. Let's say the players who got snubbed. So Jerry, I'll give you the first your go around, and then I'll go. Then Drew can go this time. Give your top 4 or 3 players you think were snubbed, and people that really just overlooked these guys on having a great year.
My number 1 sub was Pascal Siakam. I mean, I think the only reason why he didn't make it is because I think he missed about 15 games of the start of the season. But I mean, ever since then, he's been 22 points a game, 8 rebounds, and 5 assists. I mean, that's some of the best numbers in the NBA this season. And he's leading the Raptors to, I believe it's the 7th seed, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, you can't go wrong with the Pascal Siakam. He's playing like he did in the finals. I just the only reason why I think he missed is because injuries. My number 2 guy was Shai Gilgeous. He's averaging 22, 5, and 5. I mean, kind of same with Pascal, but I think he gets overlooked just because he plays for OKC. He's not missed many games. The only problem with the West is so guard heavy. So many guards.
Yeah.
Hard for him to get in. And then my last one would be Bam Adebayo. Same with him. Injuries. I mean, he's putting up most points per game this season, 18 and 12. And he's got 1.5 steals and almost 2 blocks. But just missed too many games.
I feel like that whole missed too many games thing kind of gets blown out of proportion, though, because LeBron was a captain, and he played 41 games.
Well, the problem
was a captain, and he was hurt.
Yeah.
That's LeBron, though. Like, the top 5 players in the NBA are always going to make it.
Yeah.
It's just what it is. But those are my 3.
All right.
I also put Domantas Sabonis, but I think the transition from the East to the West kind of hurt him with the voting.
Yep. So this is good because I had 4 completely different players. So I'll give us some variety. My number 1, this man had 46 games played. He's been completely overlooked this year. Donovan Mitchell.
He's injured.
Yeah, no, I'm saying not injured. Like Kevin Durant, right? He didn't get whatever. But anyway, I don't know which one I was trying to make. Number 2, Anthony Edwards. 53 games played. And Minnesota is finally good again, even though they've never been good. But Anthony Edwards is a very good player.
For Minnesota's being in the play-in games right now.
I mean, Minnesota last year, compared to last year, I mean, Minnesota.
That's just saying what the boundary, like what the.
They've been atrocious.
Minnesota.
I don't mean to cut you off.
That's just how bad the organization is.
Don't tell me Anthony Edwards is hurt too. Don't tell me that.
No, I don't want to cut you off. But Donovan Mitchell did make the All-Star game. He was replaced.
Did he get replaced?
Okay, here's what I have to say about injuries. There's 82 games. What we 60 games in?
Something like that.
60 games, yes.
Yeah. Okay. At some point, somebody's gonna miss.
Yeah. No. I mean,
we gotta take unless they
the
miss
guys
like
that play
3/4 of the season. Unless they miss like 3/4 of the season,
like 40
all
games.
that out.
Donovan Mitchell did make the All-Star game though.
All right, then
he was replaced by DeJounte Murray, who should have made it in the first place.
DeJounte Murray should have been in there regardless.
He is a baller.
All right. So Anthony Edwards, I really don't. He's averaging 25, and his stats aren't amazing besides his scoring.
Yeah, Anthony Edwards has been overlooked.
They have a nice big 3 in Minnesota.
He's so good.
Yeah.
And he gets overlooked because I guess LaMelo Ball is the same class as him. I mean, he can really do anything. He D's up, he can drive, he can shoot. He can really do it all. Next I have a player for Drew. I have Brandon Ingram, which he was slow to start.
Just lobbed that to me.
What?
So you could have just lobbed that to me.
Brandon Ingram, I mean, he's pretty much overlooked because Nola, but still a very good player. Again, he's not like in my opinion, he's better than Andrew Wiggins, and Andrew Wiggins is a starter. Besides that, it's funny because the Brandon Ingram hype has really died down from last year because last year everyone was like on the most improved wave, and then all of a sudden it just died down.
You can't be the most improved player for 2 years in a row because you've already.
I'm just saying,
improved.
like they're like, man, Brandon Ingram really, this is like the breakthrough year for him, and then it just went away again, kind of like Julius Randle hype.
I have some.
And then my
Yeah,
final
Julius Randle
one
has been playing
is
well.
Jaylen Brown.
Yeah, that's a good one. Brown's a good one.
Jaylen Brown is, I don't know why he's arguably, you can make a case that he's better than Tatum. But
I wouldn't go that far.
especially
Tatum has more potential coming out of college.
I just don't think Jaylen Brown would be as good without Tatum. Yeah.
I see
I
Brown
agree
as a
with
guy that when Tatum's missing, Brown can give good
Yeah,
true buckets.
and everyone's focused on
He's-
Tatum.
He's like an ISO Joe.
But Jaylen Brown is just so good.
Yeah.
And he gets overlooked again. But I mean, besides Donovan Mitchell, which I got that one wrong, those are my 3. Even though Anthony Edwards is kind of a fringe player because his stats aren't really good, but everyone knows what he's capable of.
I mean, it's like if Anthony Edwards was in the East, he would have made it over LaMelo Ball.
Yeah, for sure. LaMelo just.
I think LaMelo was the most overrated All-Star.
I think Andrew Wiggins was.
Okay, second then.
Andrew Wiggins was a starter. I think
Yeah.
LaMelo is just.
It's just because of his flashy play.
Everyone just loves LaMelo, and he's also led
Yeah.
the Hornets to be a pretty solid team. Especially with
They don't know how to play defense.
you got Montrez though. Hopefully.
Yeah, that was a good trade.
Anyway,
Drew?
Drew, you can go.
All right. Well, starting off because Aaron stole my star of the team, the new face of the franchise, because McDonald's boy doesn't want to commit to us.
Mountain Dew boy.
Yeah, Mountain Dew.
So yeah,
He loved
Brandon
that Mountain
Ingram.
Dew.
Brandon Ingram. You got to think back at the beginning of the season. Pelicans started. I think he was like 3-16. They were horrible, and the big reason for that was because Brandon Ingram was hurt for the beginning of the year. But when he came back, like the resurgence that was like brought to that team was like insane. And he has become him and Willie Green. Willie Green honestly deserves a lot of credit for being the coach of the Pelicans. He's brought in changed culture. But Brandon Ingram has stepped up, averaging over 20 a game. And where you have multiple stars on a team, Brandon Ingram, like I said with the Jaw argument, Jaw is getting double teamed. That's what makes him more impressive. Brandon Ingram's the same way. Now that they have CJ McCollum, his production's gone a little bit down, but not too much. But part of the reason is because he has someone to share the ball with. And so with Zion being gone, he's had to step up and be a leader, which is another task of his own because he's kind of always been a laid back dude where he hasn't been Mr. like leader, and now he is because this is what his third season in New Orleans. So he's pretty much he's a new face of the franchise guy. I don't know if y'all saw this, but the Pelicans sent out season ticket thing yesterday, and they mentioned nothing of Zion. It was nothing but CJ McCollum, Jonas Valanciunas, and Brandon Ingram. And I think Brandon Ingram, him and DeJounte Murray are on the same level for me. When DeJounte Murray replaced whoever it was, I thought it was a toss-up between DeJounte Murray and Brandon Ingram. Anyways, next one. No one said this one. Miles Bridges. Miles has been overlooked, but we all know the Hornets franchise has been an L all these years until guys like LaMelo and Miles Bridges has really progressed well this year. So I think Miles Bridges.
You said the wrong Bridges. It should be Mikal.
Who?
I said you got the wrong Bridges in the All-Star game.
No. Miles Bridges has been very good. And the last one, no one really said anything. I couldn't really find anything on why. I know he was injured for a lot, but Anthony Davis.
Injured. He made it.
So he's injured. Did he make it? I didn't see anything on that he had made it.
I think he got that injury right before.
I know he had been injured a lot of the year. But he's Anthony Davis.
Yeah, Laker fans are going to vote him in. He made it in, I'm pretty sure. He just
And then
he got the month injury.
See, that was a question mark because I couldn't really find anything. But the last one I put was Shea. But you said Shea. I think you had the same things that I was going to say about Shea.
My team, I think Shea and Pascal are the two top.
Yeah,
I can't believe Pascal didn't make it.
Shea's on that like DeJounte Murray level still.
Yeah.
I think he's a premature DeJounte Murray. I think he's what DeJounte Murray will be. Or like what he will be DeJounte Murray.
They're a year apart.
Yeah.
I think Shea needs a guy like what Devin Booker happened with him, like a Chris Paul came, like a star. I think that's what Shea needs.
Well, he did have Chris Paul. He took him to the playoffs.
And he played the best season of his career that year.
I think that Chris Paul really helped him. Even after he's gone, he really helped develop him as a player.
Yeah, I mean, I think he was averaging like 2 assists before Chris Paul, and now he's averaging almost 6. That's a big step up for him.
Yeah,
because he's a shooting first guard.
Anthony Davis probably would have been hurt in the All-Star game, even though they're playing defense.
Yeah, he probably would have been held out.
Yeah, he probably would have gone up for like a layup, tore both those ACLs, and rolled both of his ankles.
They call him A. Disney for a reason.
All right, so Drew, all right, that's a good segue. Drew, you touched on Zion a little bit. We can go ahead and get on the Zion drama going on. As a Pelicans fan yourself, you want to give some insight besides him being a lover of gumbo and Mountain Dew?
My thing with Zion, okay, man, if you're hurt and you want to be away from the team, that's completely fine. Go do your own treatment. I don't know how it takes 4 months to heal a fractured foot. I mean, I never fractured my foot, but it's probably been longer than 4 months now. Probably like 6 months.
Well, I mean, if you put 400 pounds on an ankle, it's going to be pretty hard.
When I fractured my foot, I was out a month.
Yeah, just take 3 views.
And he goes away from the team. The Pelicans specifically trade for C.J. McCollum for sole reason of Zion Williamson. Great player alongside Zion. And the fact that on TNT on Saturday night, C.J. McCollum goes on with the boys and says, Zion has not even reached out to me. That's bad. And I don't know if anyone saw this morning on First Take where J.J. Redick, former teammate, just few years of Zion's rookie year, popped off on Zion saying how unprofessional he was when J.J. Redick was there. And, Zion has at least got to come out and defend himself. Like, at least say something.
Yeah, he's probably still in a food coma.
I mean, that's what I got to say.
I think he's the next Greg Oden.
I mean, say something.
Yeah.
What?
I think it's time to consider Zion a bust.
Not yet. I think that he's.
I don't think he's a bust
Greg Oden,
but when he's on the court, he's very good.
Same with Greg Oden. Greg Oden was just a different beast.
I think it's a weight thing.
Organization, the Pelicans organization, has come in and done everything that they would want with Zion. Like they built a team. Okay, that's not the Pelicans' fault. They built a team around him. They traded for Lonzo, who could throw alley-oops to him. But Lonzo can't shoot. Zion needs shooters because when he drives, everyone collapses on him.
That is how he can now.
Anyways, they got C.J. McCollum, who's a shooter. Brandon Ingram, you can play alongside him, and they got Jonas Valanciunas. The big problem last year when Zion plays, they had Steven Adams. Steven Adams can't shoot outside the paint. They went out and got a big man that can shoot. It is a perfect squad for Zion to come in and play with. He could do the exact same thing John Morant's doing, but he won't embrace it.
I think the C.J. McCollum trade was a really good trade for the Pels.
Because I think Zion was playing.
He's on a 3-year contract. I think if B.I., CJ, and Valanciunas can stay healthy, I could see them make the play-in game.
So, they were in position to make the play-in game when they traded for CJ McCollum. But, I mean, I don't know what's going on with Zion. Why he's just sitting there for 6 months?
So, with Zion's absence, does the GM start making calls or accepting calls?
Well, who wants to trade for him?
True.
Who would want that?
If you're a GM's perspective, are you thinking, man, he just wants out? He's doing all this on purpose. He wants out.
Okay, that's a question I would talk to David Griffin about. I would go to David Griffin and be like, "Are you all having problems with Zion?"
I mean,
no one's saying anything publicly.
He doesn't want to be there.
I got a question for you guys.
If he doesn't want to be there, then he needs to tell them.
Everybody knows Zion's potential, and I'm pretty sure his rookie contract is up in like 2 years. 2 years.
That's the thing, though. He's gonna be a restricted free agent, so the Pelicans have his rights.
Do you give him the max just because of his potential?
No.
Do you
If
think
he doesn't play a
team will?
game, if he doesn't play a game from now until his contract is maxed, then
No.
Do you
who
think
knows
another
what they
team will?
do.
I think there's another team out there that would be willing to give him the max.
I think
just
like a
because of his
poverty
potential.
franchise, like the Magic.
If he enters free agency, it'll be a sign and trade guaranteed. No way
Yeah.
the Pelicans are letting
Is
that
there
man
a te-
walk
I imagine
away
the
without
I
getting
imagine the
anything.
Magic have a ton of cap space.
Magic got a good young squad too.
Yeah.
They have a good dual point guard.
Orlando's
Front
nice.
court.
You can go to Disneyland.
Hey, he loves Disneyland.
Orlando and New Orleans are the same thing.
He
They're both
just give
smaller
don't
markets.
give Zion a corn dog. He will scarf those things down.
I heard they have like a 64-ounce Mountain Dews there.
Yeah, they have big gulps there. Zion will love it there.
He's a big fan of them.
All right. All right. Besides this Zion being fat, there's nothing really Zion's just fat, lazy, can't talk.
I don't know why he won't just come out and make a statement.
Probably too busy eating beignets in the French Quarter.
You think he's eating beignets?
He ain't in New Orleans.
He definitely. I wonder. Zion probably walks into that one beignet shop. I went there now as New Orleans. That one beignet shop. It's hard to find the seat. He probably has his own table named after him called the Big Z.
Hey,
They just plop 10 beignets just downed in powdered sugar in front of him. He's like, "Can I get a side of Mountain Dew?" He has like 4 cups of Mountain Dew in front of him. Like, aren't you
speaking of guys,
It's like, aren't you supposed to be a practice Zion? And he's like, "Nope."
speaking of guys that love food, how many Philly cheesesteaks do you think James Harden's had? You think he's got a restaurant named after him yet?
Yeah. No, he definitely has a club named after him in Philadelphia.
Yeah. So there was a club that posted on Instagram like welcome James Harden.
He heard he has his own VIP seat for him.
They're embracing the challenge.
Yeah, if only Zion loved the city as much as James Harden did. All right. Anyway, enough Zion slander. There have been some surprising teams this year, no doubt, as any year. Not like anything special. So I have 4 teams that have really surprised me this year. I don't know how many of you guys made.
I want to say something. I think we're probably gonna have the same amount of teams. So let's do one and then I'll go around.
Okay, so
Yeah, you start.
I'll give my most surprising team. Is that what you want?
You go ahead.
The Cavs. I don't know. Cavs definitely most surprising team. 22-50 last year. Does that add up? That doesn't even add up.
No, they had a shortened season last year.
No, they had a shortened season because of COVID.
That's what I thought. Anyway, 22-50 last year. Man, Evan Mobley looks like a beast.
Coach of the
He's
year.
the real deal.
Jarrett Allen also looks super good. Jarrett Allen was really good on the Nets. So, I mean, nothing super crazy. And then that Sexland backcourt, what can't they do? D up.
A great trade they made was for Karis LeVert.
Karis
He's
LeVert.
good.
Yes, that'll make him so much better
Great
too.
piece off the bench. That's a win now
Hopefully-
move too.
Yeah, hopefully he can breathe. Besides that, I mean, that's Sexland backcourt. You have D, you have shots. Now, granted, is Colin Sexton on the last of his deal this year?
Yes.
Yeah,
he's
he'll
a free agent.
I have a feeling they might not have enough money for him.
I think if they don't, I think Colin Sexton wants a big deal, and if they don't resign him, I think that that trade for Karis LeVert was his replacement.
I mean, Karis LeVert isn't exactly a bad replacement either, but I mean, Colin Sexton, that team is, if they can keep that team together, that team is so young.
Yeah.
They could make a run for sure, especially top 3 in the East.
One thing I wrote for the Cavs is their over-under for wins this season were 26.5, and they already have 35. So
That would have been a solid bet.
they're definitely the surprise team of the year.
Should have hammered that down. All
Come
right,
on, down.
all right, Jerry. I imagine the Cavs were your first anyway, so
Yeah,
you
yeah.
can do your second.
Well, I'm gonna go with one maybe you guys don't think are as big a surprise, but mine were the Bulls. I don't think
3.
I think the Bulls, no one really saw coming. I mean, they're tied for the number 1 seed right now. Nobody really saw that in year 1, at least. I thought they were going to be 4 or 5, but being tied for the number 1 seed is crazy. And they're doing this without Zach LaVine right now. We talked about DeMar DeRozan earlier. I mean, he's putting up 28, 5, and 5. That's MVP numbers. If I mean, Derrick Rose won an MVP award in Chicago, and he had worse stats than that. So never count DeMar out.
Derrick Rose averaged
But
like 22 and won MVP.
I mean, they got some of the best depth when healthy. That's the only thing that scares me about this team when it comes to playoffs. I don't know if they can stay healthy. But I mean, they're my second surprise team of the year.
yeah, I think ESPN had them like their off season. They graded like their off season, and they got like a D in their off season.
Yeah. The Bleacher Report rated DeMar DeRozan the worst offseason move.
That's crazy.
This is his best year since 2016. It just like woken something new in him, and it's awesome to see in him.
Yeah,
it's also good to see Chicago back in basketball.
I'll say the NBA is better when the Bulls are good.
Same with the Cavs. I see the Cavs doing something about LeBron.
Yeah.
So
yeah, now LeBron wants to act like he's back for the Cavs. Anyways,
the one thing about the Bulls is DeMar loves to disappear in the playoffs.
Yeah, that's what I wrote on my notes. Is do they have anybody that can step up if DeMar is missing?
Yeah, and they added like Zach, who's never been.
Vucevic never been. Lonzo never been. They don't have any experience. I think they're second round exit, maybe a first.
Yeah, they could get upset honestly if they play because that East. I mean, the Nets are the 8th seed right now.
The hottest team in the East right now is the Celtics, undeniably.
Yeah. The Celtics, if they get paired, like the Celtics are what, 7, 6?
7. I think they'll end up as a 6th. So whoever gets that 3 seed is going to be a nightmare game.
The Nets are 8 right now. Imagine Kevin Durant, Kyrie.
East is so deep. But Drew, you want to give us yours?
I had the Cavs. I think that's the obvious choice.
Do you have other ones?
Just because what I have one that you all did not say, and that's the Memphis Grizzlies.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had that one too. That was my second.
Yep.
No, third.
I mean, that's pretty self-explanatory. Where are they? Top 4 in the West? Top 3?
Top 3. And they were
top 3 in the West. I mean, that's pretty hard to do compared to what they have been done. Especially, I mean, Valanciunas in the made a trade, basically forced Steven Adams straight up, and it sounded like everybody, like Valanciunas is pretty much. I mean, he's better than Steven Adams just because he's a big body that can also shoot from the outside, and that's what you need in today's modern day NBA. Is you need shooters, and they took the worst player in the deal, and they're still playing how they're playing with like Desmond Bane has stepped up, Jaren Jackson, Steven Adams has been really good for them, and of course the star of the team, John Morant. So I mean that's mine. The Cavs and the Grizzlies are probably my most surprising.
Yep.
Crazy thing about Steven Adams hasn't been the same since he left OKC.
Yeah, but Steven Adams is underrated. He is a glue guy. He'll get you 2 points and 7 rebounds, but he will fight and get he'll get those tip outs that go out to, and he'll get like a John Morant offensive rebound just because he tipped it out to. Like he doesn't get the love he deserves. Steven Adams is a beast.
Yeah, that was a win-win trade for both teams. I think that the Grizz needed a guy like Steven Adams, a guy that will be vocal in the locker room. And the Pels needed a guy like Jonas Valanciunas where he can go get you buckets and rebounds.
Yeah.
So that was a win-win trade.
Yeah. I had 4 teams. My 4 was just the Heat.
I'd agree with that.
I mean, the Heat just have a solid roster. Kyle Lowry's
adding Kyle Lowry and
Jimmy Butler is.
Victor's going to be back soon. People forget what Victor Oladipo is doing.
Yep. The reason why the Heat will always be good is because the management, Pat Riley, I mean, he's
and the coach.
Best GM in the country in the NBA, and Eric Spoelstra, yeah. I mean, he's the best head coach. He's top 5 head coaches of all time, in my opinion.
Top already?
Already. I mean, he has almost 3 chips. He'll get one this year.
Do we want to go? Do you guys have any other top 4 better? I mean, you have Pop.
Top 4 coaches.
You have Pop.
Phil.
Pop.
Harbaugh.
I mean, I would say the Cavs coach. I can't think of his name, but
top 5 ever.
We're doing top 5
ever. I thought you were talking about like in the NBA right now.
Brad Stevens.
I think Phil's undeniably the best, and then he goes Pop.
Pat Riley was a coach.
Yeah, he was good.
Phil Jackson. I mean, Eric Spoelstra is still super young, so I mean. Look at how old Pop is right now. Eric Spoelstra might go down as the GOAT.
I agree with that. And his story is even crazier. He was the videotape guy.
The film man.
yeah, that's just awesome for him.
Anyway, the Heat. We all named the teams. Like I had Cavs, Memphis, and Bulls, and then the Heat. I don't know. Every other team was kind of. Even the Warriors, maybe you could say, without Clay.
Yeah.
I think that what most surprising about the Warriors was their start to the year.
Yeah.
I didn't think they would come out so hot. So
especially with Draymond being able to step it up. Anyway, now let's get to our let's go to our most disappointing. Drew, since you went last, you can start. I only have 2 teams for this.
I have 3.
So Drew, you can just give your first or second, or whatever.
Here, why don't we just do? I'll just do all 4 real quick.
Okay.
All right, starting off, easy one, Lakers.
Yep.
I mean, how do you have LeBron in your the 9 seed? That's pretty embarrassing. My next one is the Nets, although I think the Nets are going to be a ton better after that James Harden trade because they get Simmons, they get a guy like Curry who can shoot, and maybe if one day Kyrie Irving comes up and has a brain, that he'll actually play again in New York, or he'll just leave New York,
Don't get
vaccinated or leave New.
Drew, can you
I think
New
New
York
York
on the show?
Huh?
Can you quit being political on the show?
I'm not being political. I'm just saying
Drew, did you just say that if you're anti-vax, you're an idiot?
No, I'm saying. Well, first of all, he says the world is flat.
No.
This isn't Kyrie's first rodeo.
Drew,
why would he go
wearing
to
a
a
mask
liberal,
inside right now?
Why would he go to a liberal state? And when he doesn't want to be get vaxxed, why are you going to play in New York, dude?
You know who I think would get along? Aaron Rodgers and Kyrie.
Man.
Dude, facts. They're already
I'd love to
bros.
see those guys in a room together.
All right. My next one is the Clippers, but I think that's because PG is
it's really hard to say that.
And, yeah,
they're still 500 though without PG and Kawhi. If anything, they're surprising.
But that's pretty. But it's
surprising.
bad when the Clippers are all in and they have PG and Kawhi's been hurt, but they're 500.
If we're doing, the Clippers have this. That definitely. If you're Steve Ballmer, is that how you say his name? Ballmer.
Yeah. They're building that new arena, so maybe they'll bring some light to them. But my last one, probably none of you all had, is I'm very disappointed in the Portland Trailblazers. They had Damian Lillard, and they had CJ McCollum, who is a great guy who Dame has played with for so long, and they had Nurkic, and they had different guys like Norman Powell. They could have made a move at a deadline that would have re-energized their team. But instead, they started selling off, acting like they're just going to rebuild when they have an NBA 70. They had one of the top 75 players of all time in that list with Damian Lillard. And you're just in the prime of his career where he's a top 5, top 3 point guard in the league right now. And you're just throwing away his prime.
He does not run from the grind.
I will say I like what the Blazers did. You guys might not agree. I like what they did. I think that the roster they had at the moment, they're not winning games with that team. So getting rid of CJ McCollum's contract is nice. You can go out. Free agency is going to be big for them. I think a guy like Colin Sexton, any big man.
You got to draft well. If you're in a city like Portland, though, you got to draft well. It's the same thing. That's what makes it so hard with the smaller markets. You got to draft well if you want to go play in Portland.
I feel like Portland could be a big city. Portland's a nice city. Portland's a nice city. There's no reason you can't get.
They have a lot of cap space for next year too.
Name one thing that's in Portland besides the Trailblazers.
Oregon's just a cool city.
Oregon's not a city, it's a state.
Oregon is a good state. Portland's just a cool city. It's nice. The weather's nice. Temperature's nice.
I think you can't judge the Blazers until this offseason.
You know what would have been a great pickup for the Blazers? Kristaps Porzingis.
No.
They don't need. They needed. The thing with Damian Lillard is I don't think anyone wants to play with him.
The problem with the Blazers the past 5 years is they get big men that can't stay healthy, and Kristaps is a guy that gets injured constantly. Jusuf Nurkic, he's a great center, injured constantly. Their biggest piece that they need is a center. Until then, they're not going to win games.
They just don't.
I feel like they just need another. I think they need a 3 or a 4 that can score alongside Dame.
They need Kevin Durant. That's their only savior.
Kyrie.
I honestly don't think Dame could win with anyone else besides like LeBron, Giannis, or Kevin Durant.
Well, he's not leaving. He doesn't run from the grind.
Because honestly,
he doesn't run from the grind.
That's how he's going to be remembered. 1-time Rookie of the Year, 0 everything else, but he did not run from the grind. Believe that.
I had 2 disappointing teams that Drew didn't say, and that's the Hawks, the former Eastern Conference Finals runner-up, and the Knicks. You look at
The Knicks are just not a
roster,
good roster.
They did good
I
last year, though.
disagree.
They did good last year.
I think you
They
look
don't
at
have
that
a
Knicks
star.
roster, and they can go deep though. They have a good solid bench. Obi Toppin, Manuel Quickley, Alex Burks, all those guys off the bench are nice.
They trade for Cam
I
Reddish
think
and don't even play him.
Yeah, Cam
Yeah,
Reddish
I think
is
their coach
so
their
good.
coaching is terrible.
Also, they
I think their
destroyed
coaching
Kemba.
is terrible.
I threw Kemba.
Yeah,
in
destroyed
the
Kemba.
dirt.
I think just playing in New York is one of the hardest things to do in the NBA.
I mean, clearly, Knicks
Because
and Nets.
You were
Yes, 'cause their
judged so
Owner
hard.
sucks.
Yeah, he's the worst owner. I hate him. Well, actually, no, the Kings, but
Yeah.
the Kings.
But
Oh gosh.
my most surprising was the Hawks. I mean, they're 28-30. They're barely in the play-in game, and they just got off the Eastern Conference Finals run.
and their team didn't really change. If anything,
Yeah. That's what I'm disappointed in. They didn't go out and make a win now move when their team is a win now team. You know, John Collins is all right, Clint Capella is all right, but they don't have that shooting guard or
They
small
don't have
forward
that
they
two
can
guy
rely on.
along with Trae Young.
it's also
Exactly.
Atlanta. Atlanta's
That should be a hot city.
Yeah.
And
Same with like
Atlanta's a baseball city, baby.
their development of Cam Reddish is also very disappointing. They just got rid of him.
Cam Reddish was so good, and no one even like realizes it. Even like I've seen like interviews with Anthony Edwards who said Cam Reddish was the hardest person he's had to guard. And
you look at Cam's college highlights and high school highlights. I know it doesn't translate to the NBA, but I mean that you can just tell that guy's an NBA player.
he's a shooter. He's a shooter that can guard. Who doesn't want to play that?
Yeah, exactly.
I guess there might be something we don't know.
I think his contract's up the end of this year or next year, and I think he'll sign somewhere where he'll get minutes. A place like the Grizzlies, or not the Grizz, the Mavs would be a place I'd like to see him at.
Yeah.
To pair with Tim Hardaway and Luka, I think that'd be a nice little trio.
I mean, even imagine him like on the Lakers right now.
Yeah.
He could help so many teams, and he's stuck in New York.
The
Lakers
need to be starting Malik Monk. I think that's what kind of holds him back too. Malik Monk is.
He kind of struggles to be consistent though on some nights. Some
nights
it's 30.
He does struggle.
2.
I'll tell you, every time he's on ESPN, he'll drop 20.
He loves the show.
He's a primetime player, just like in college.
Iggy Azalea, so hats off to Malik Monk.
He had a tweet in 2016 that he tweeted Iggy and he asked him, he was like, how can I make you mine in 2016?
If anything, that's the MVP to me. Malik Monk should be in the MVP debate.
All he needed was to go to LA.
He just got I think Iggy just loves the Lakers. Nick Young.
That's facts. All right.
Anyway, my teams were the Lakers and the Nets. Two of the hottest teams, just trash this year. The way the Nets handled James Harden, he was kind of funny because we all thought James Harden, Kevin Durant, and Kyrie were so close, and then James just won it out.
And Kyrie didn't even play for him. He wasn't willing to get vaccinated. So those three horrible friendships.
It's not going to work out. Like this would be like one of the biggest what ifs. If three of the best players of all time on a team.
I'm pretty sure they played. I want to say 16 games total, and they went 13-3. It was a good record, and the games they all played together.
I mean, imagine guarding. Those are three of the hardest players to guard of all time on the same team. 3
ISO players that can take you one-on-one.
All of them.
I mean, Kevin Durant, arguably the greatest
scorer.
Greatest scorer of all time.
And James Harden also in that debate. And Kyrie handles.
Best handles.
It's
almost
rough
all time.
seeing what happened, even though I wanted it to fail. That is funny. The Lakers, it's looking rough out in Lakerland. There's no hope. They should have moved Russ, tried to get someone. But Russ, it's like
Or Russell.
What can you even do?
The problem,
who wants him?
Who wants Russ? Who wants Russ is the
We should
problem.
have done a straight up Kyrie for Russ trade. At least Russ can play half the
Man,
games.
I would love to see Kyrie play with LeBron again.
That would not work. Kyrie already slandered LeBron.
No.
And LeBron's over here. I love Kyrie.
Here we go back to Kyrie doesn't have a brain.
You just hate Kyrie because he's anti-vax.
I agree.
You like getting tracked by the government, Drew? The government's just tracking you. They shoved a needle in you. They put a tracking device in you. They can listen to all your conversations now.
All right, let's move on.
Do not take any advice from this podcast. We do not know anything that we're talking about. Please consult your doctor if you have any issues, not us. So now we're gonna give our power rankings in a sense. Not really, but our top 3 teams in each conference, and then our top 2. Can you please be professional? We're gonna give our top 3 teams in each conference, then our top 2, and as well some dark horses. So I'll go first since I haven't gone first. My top 3 in the East are the Heat, the Bulls, and the Bucks. The Heat already look good right now, even without a healthy Victor Oladipo. And like I said earlier, people don't know what he's capable of. The Bulls they don't really have any flaws yet that we can tell yet. I mean, really, playoff time is whenever you can start to really see what a team is struggling at, because teams have weeks to prepare and then they play them 7 times. So we might see what the Bulls' flaws are come playoff time, but as of right now, they're not slowing down. And then I have the Bucks, because even though they haven't the best regular season, they have Giannis, Chris Middleton, and Drew Holiday, as well as a great supporting cast, and their team is just so good. There's not really a fault with the Bucks either. There might just be like a LeBron team where they don't really try in the regular season. Then the top
defending
3,
champs.
What?
So defending champs, of course, they're going to be
Yeah, they're gonna be chilling. Then my top 3 in the East are actually just the standings. So I have the Suns, the Warriors, and the Grizzlies. Just because those.
You mean the West?
Okay,
Yeah.
That's what I meant. West. I have the Suns, the Warriors, and the Grizzlies, just because those look like the 3 best teams right now. The Suns, great home and away record. The Warriors, they started off so hot, and they have Clay back now.
They're about to get James Wiseman back.
Clay and James,
Yeah.
They're going to be lethal. People forget what James Wiseman can do too. 7-foot guard. He
Yeah.
can shoot, dribble.
He can do it all.
He didn't run from the grind either, dude. He stayed with the team that he got drafted by.
What was the joke there?
He didn't run from the grind.
Is it like a Zion shot? I'm so confused.
No, it's just the fact that his team had a top 3 pick. They selected him, and he didn't run from the grind. Now his team's a top 3 team in the West.
Oh, so it is a Zion dig.
No, it's a Dame thing.
No, he's trying to make fun of Zion.
Already
What's
made
going
it.
Zion.
What's going through your mind right now? Is it a Zion dig or is it a Dame dig? Or is it both?
It's a both. It's the fact that Zion's a lord and he needs to man up, and also a Dame thing where he says, "I don't run from the grind."
All right. And my 3rd pick was the Grizzlies, just because they look so good right now. Desmond Bane, Dylan Brooks, Jaren Jackson Jr. You have such a good
The
team.
only one I have different is, I'm just gonna keep it short and sweet, is 76ers now because they have James Harden.
Yep. I put 76ers over the Bulls.
I have 76ers
Yeah.
as a dark horse.
76ers, I mean, you have James Harden and Embiid. That's gonna play huge in the playoffs, along with Tobias Harris and Tyrese Maxey. Like, that's a great 3 and 4 scoring option.
Yep. I think the only thing that's holding the Bulls back is no playoff experience. 76ers.
I don't think
got 2 guys.
Team chemistry in the playoffs is what they don't have.
Yeah. Playoff basketball is
It's completely different from
basketball. Is 2 different things, and they're going to find that out quick. And it's going to be interesting how they handle that. But yeah, I think we all had pretty much the same list with the 76ers.
Okay, did you guys have dark horses as well as your top 4?
Yeah, I'll start with my dark horse. My dark horse was the Raptors.
Okay.
I think that they have one of the best benches in the league. Best management in the league, up there with the Heat. Can't go wrong with them. Their starting lineup with, I think it's Gary Trent, Fred, OG, Pascal, and then Scotty. I mean, you can't go wrong with that 5. That's one of the best 5s in the league, if you ask me.
That's pretty balanced.
Nick Nurse, great coach.
Yeah, Nick Nurse, one of the best coaches. Yeah, one of the best coaches in the NBA. If Pascal, Fred, and OG, was OG on that finals run team? I think he came off the bench.
Yeah.
Those threes know what it takes to win playoff games, and I think that'll benefit heavy. And I think they're my dark horse.
They
I
could
like them a
upset the
lot.
Bulls. If they get matched with the Bulls, they're the 7 right now. They could easily,
They
especially with
could.
Nick Nurse.
They could. I could see them end up getting the 5 seed and playing that 4 seed, upset the 4 seed, and even upset the 1 seed, whoever that is. So they could definitely get a good run. I could see them make the Eastern Conference Finals. I think they could be last year's Hawks. So that's my dark horse.
What about the West?
The West. I mean, obviously it's gonna be the Lakers.
Okay.
Any team with LeBron on it, they can go all the way. Playoff LeBron's probably the best player of all time. There's just no denying that.
Facts. Especially, it'd be scary. I'd be scared if I was that 1 seed going up against even an 8 seed Lakers.
Yeah, unless it's the Suns. I think the Suns sweep them.
Yeah,
sadly,
the Suns handled them last year with.
LeBron always has Curry's number, so we'll see what happens.
Drew, you have a different dark horse?
My dark horse is the Minnesota Timberwolves.
Yeah,
they have, well, like we said earlier, their big three where they have D'Lo, Anthony Edwards, and Cat. I mean, they're not. Do I think they're going to make the finals? No, but do I think they can make some noise in the playoffs? Yes, just because of solely when it comes down into the playoffs, it matters more of who are your stars. And it's like in the regular season, you're going to want to rack up those wins and get the best seeding. But the reason you're going to have better seeding is not because you have better star players, it's because you have a deeper lineup that can play when you're on a back-to-back. That you go deeper in your guys that are on the bench and role players that can produce more. But when it's a playoff time, it comes down to your stars. Whose stars are better? And the T-Wolves have 3. I mean, D'Lo is. I mean, he's a star, but I wouldn't say he's like a superstar.
We've seen what he can do.
What?
We've seen what he can do in the clutch.
I think,
but I think Anthony Edwards is a rising superstar, and I think Cat is pretty much a superstar.
Yeah, if you don't think Cat's a superstar, then you should stop watching the NBA. He's a superstar.
He's not.
I think, and you got like a guy that's like a Draymond Green and Jared Vanderbilt.
He's also the best 3-point shooter in the league.
Who, Jared Vanderbilt?
No, Cat.
Jared Vanderbilt.
Oh, Cat. Oh, yeah, 3-point contest.
Yeah.
All right.
What's interesting about the Timberwolves? I want to add on what Drew said. Interesting about Timberwolves is how I wanted to know how Cat will play in the playoffs because we haven't seen him in the playoffs before. So that'll be interesting.
Yeah, they had that play-in game against the Nuggets like a few years ago where it came down to the final game of the season and they choked it.
Yep.
All right.
So
that team's interesting. I've applied a lot of dark horses because
give us your favorite.
All right. So my favorite in the West. I would go with the Nuggets. Not exactly a dark horse, but they're 5th or 6th in the East or West right now. And they have Jokic, and if Jamal can come back come playoff time, we saw what the team. I mean, they played in the bubble, but we saw what the team could do in the bubble. So I mean, the team's definitely really good, even without Jamal Murray. And we forgot how good Jamal Murray was before he got hurt. He's insane. And then my dark horse in the East, it was the 76ers. But I'll give another one. It's Jerry mentioned it earlier as well. I want the Hawks. Who's to say the Hawks can't turn it around? We saw what they're capable of with the same team. The Hawks were really good in the playoffs last year. So, I mean, even if they get to the 8, they could still upset. It's going to be a lot harder, but they could. They have the playoff experiences. They're pretty much the same team to go in there and make a run with that team. So, if the Hawks can actually do something in the regular season, I feel like they could definitely make a run in the playoffs.
I agree with that. The only way I see them make a run is if they get out of that 8 or 7 seed.
Even like
they got to be a 6 if they make a run.
Because those top 2, like I don't think there's no shot that Heat get first rounded by the Hawks.
I don't think the Hawks upset anybody in that first round, in my opinion. I love your Nuggets one, especially if they get Jamal Murray back. I think they're title contenders.
Yeah, they're for sure. The Hawks for me, they're not a playoff team. They might not even be an Eastern Conference team just because they didn't make any moves. They're now behind in the East.
Yeah.
Like they're on the same level as the Heat. They're on the same level as the Bulls. They're on the same level as the Bucks. They're not even the same level as the 76ers anymore. If you get James Harden, if James Harden can play basketball again.
I think they really Go ahead.
What are you saying?
There you go.
All right. Also, even if the Nets can convince Ben Simmons to play some basketball,
Yeah, I
again,
saw he said he's revving up this week. He's supposed to be like getting ready
Okay.
to go.
but is he going to play real basketball again?
I believe he'll play the best he's ever played.
I think
I
Kevin
think
Durant's
he'll
a
play
very
great.
underrated
He'll
leader.
play great alongside Kyrie and KD.
I think
And
KD's
Steph
one.
Curry.
I think KD's one of the best teammates in the league.
I do too.
I
I
know-
think Kevin Durant can really be like, go out there and just play.
Yeah, I mean, he played with James Harden and Westbrook. I mean,
And
if
Kyrie.
those three got together right now, that team would be impossible to play with. But I think KD just gels people together.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I don't see a reason why Kevin Durant just can't, like, he's not going to – Kevin Durant's one of the most chill guys in the league. He's not going to get on to Ben Simmons for having an off night.
Yeah, he doesn't care. Like,
He's just out there playing, which is
Yeah.
the best, which is
He'll-
the reason why
he'll-
he's so good.
he'll take a step back. And that's why a lot of guys like him.
Goodness, if you have Kyrie, Ben Simmons, and Kevin Durant at the same time, forget how good of a defender Ben Simmons is. He can play ball.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. We pretty much exaggerated that. So now we're going to give into our individual awards halfway through the season.
I think we can all agree on these for most of them, so we can just fly through these.
Yeah. So just say I. If you agree. Rookie of the year, FM Mobley.
Aye.
Sixth man of the year, Tyler Hero.
Aye.
Most improved player, John Morant.
Aye.
All right, these are the
I also
two.
added Darius Garland to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
I
could
just
put him
think
in
what Jaw's doing is I think he went from 18 points a game to 27 points per game. 9-point
Crazy.
jump is insane.
there. Crazy. As well
I just
as-
said Darius Garland because of the way he's brought the Cavs team. Like, sure, Evan Mobley's like rookie year has really helped them, but I mean, Darius Garland, they gotta have some sort of guard play, especially with Sexton out. Darius Garland, I mean, first time All Star. What is it? Third season, I think. So
It's his third,
I mean,
yeah.
I mean, that's pretty impressive, especially in a place like Cleveland where everybody dogged him until LeBron got there.
He's a
nice
future.
to see, nice to see
That's
them
what
make a own name for themselves.
He's a future.
Yeah.
Of
But
the
Ja made
garbage.
Memphis a third seed pretty much on his
41 and 19.
own. On his own.
Yeah.
So, I mean, all right. Now, the defensive player of the year and MVP, I don't think we're all going to agree on. My MVP is Jokic so far. Jerry, imagine yours is Embiid.
Yep.
Jokic is averaging 26, 13 and a half, and 8. That is tough.
Yeah, I think it's Jokic.
I
me give
think
you
it's
a-
only down to two people. I think it's Jokic or Embiid.
I don't see anyone
And
else cracking it.
And either one you pick, I'm not going to blame you.
Yeah,
mean,
they're both so good.
Both guys could get
That's all I was
that
saying
award.
in the All-Star game, dude. Like, it's like give or take.
It's also funny to see how, like, a couple of years ago, we were like, man, the NBA is getting rid of the center. The center no longer exists. And now there's two centers that are pretty much the only possibility for an MVP run.
I think
And-
Giannis could throw
And
it. I think
Giannis is the best
player in
power
world.
forward in the league. We're sleeping on Giannis a little.
We're like, we were all like, oh man, you no longer need big play in the NBA. The best three players in the league, or MVP
big men.
wise, are all big men. Who
I
don't
think it'll
really
stay
have-
like that for a while too.
Yeah, who don't really have like, I mean, yeah, they have some outside game, but definitely not Giannis. Embiid can kind of stroke that three, and so can Jokic, but they're
You gotta
really just
respect it.
inside guys.
Yeah.
And then,
One MVP sleeper we got to put respect on is DeMar DeRozan.
yeah,
I don't think he'll win it.
I just don't think he'll win it though.
I think
He'll be in the top five.
he's going to finish top 5. And from going from the Spurs to the Bulls and being a top 5 candidate is pretty impressive.
It also
So,
shows how poorly the Spurs handled him. 'Cause he
Yeah,
was
Spurs-
great.
it is very impressive what he's done in Chicago this season.
He was
but
great in
I
Toronto.
don't think he's in the top 3 of MVP. I think my top 3 MVP, top 4, I would say Jokic, Embiid, Giannis, and Morant.
Solid. But
That's my 4.
Morant can't win Most Improved and MVP. That'd be unheard
yeah,
of.
Yeah.
I think DeMar. I give DeMar a slight edge over Morant.
And Defensive Player of the Year, I know me and Jerry don't mix. Drew, who do you have?
I have Draymond.
Okay, so we all three have different players. It's nice.
I was going to put Draymond. Just missed too many games though.
But Draymond, though, when you have so many score guys, I think he gets overlooked for how good he is on defense because he knows his role. He knows he doesn't have to score.
Yeah, but
And he's like, good.
The problem with that is the Defensive Player of the Year award is always a stats award, and
I think
it's always just going to give
think,
it to the best guy with stats. That's why Rudy Gobert's won it the past 3 years.
I don't think it'll go to Gobert again.
I pray not.
But I think Draymond will. I think Draymond should be at least in the top 3.
He's my second.
My issue with Gobert, it's impossible to be the best defensive player in the league when you can only guard the 4 and the 5.
What about Oscar Tshiebwe?
Okay,
we're just going to ignore that.
Can I continue talking? It's impossible to be the best defender when you can only guard the 4 and the 5. Guards get Rudy Gobert switched onto them, and they're already celebrating making a shot. They love it. Because he's so slow. Okay, he's tall and his big, lanky arms. He can get easy blocks down low. But take him out on the perimeter, he's dog water.
Who are you saying?
Giannis. Because like Jerry said, it comes down to his stats game. He's averaging a steal and 1.4 blocks a game.
I have Jaren Jackson.
Jaren
Jackson, steal,
very solid.
2.2 blocks.
He definitely is a sneaky, good defensive player.
He can guard 1 through 5 too. He's very versatile, fast for a big man of his size. I love him as a player too. I think he gets a little underlooked because of jaw. So
yeah, for sure.
Jaren Jackson a lot.
I don't really see I don't feel like a player. I like how all of us had a player that could guard 1 through 5 because I really don't think if a guy can't guard a guard, he should be a top defender in the league.
Underrated one, if he didn't miss about half the season, is Bam Adebayo. He should have won it last year.
I'm very impressed with how Bam has progressed. I did not think that he would be as great of an NBA player as he is.
Can Bam guard a guard though?
Yes.
I mean, he's pretty athletic. He's pretty sneaky athletic.
He stops up Giannis every time they play the Bucks, except for last year's playoffs. That was just probably the worst playoff series I've seen by the Heat. But he can guard 1 through 5.
Not the finals of the Mavs.
All right, we're going to go to the next one?
Yeah. Well, we forgot Coach of the Year. I know mine.
Cavs.
We did that? We did Coach of the Year?
We didn't do Coach of the Year.
I didn't prepare for that.
Mine is the Cavs, though. I got to give it
I'll go with
I say the Suns head coach or the Eric Spoelstra.
Man, I love
Monty Williams.
Monty Williams.
Yeah, I love Monty Williams too.
I'll go
because it's usually just the best record for the coach.
Is Billy Donovan the Bulls coach? I'll go with Billy Donovan.
Yes. Yeah, Billy Donovan.
Billy Donovan's a good coach.
I'll go with
great
Billy.
Coach, actually.
Because he was able to turn that team around.
Yeah.
Goodness. Jim Boylan. I think Drew's a better head coach than Jim Boylan.
Well, that's not that hard.
All right. This is the time we're going to transition from the NBA to the NCAA. A lot happened this week. Drew, can you fill us all in?
Yes.
Wait. Before you go, Jerry will have a segment next week once NBA season gets back. Tune in next week to see what his amazing segment is. Look at that!
Right,
Look at how good I am. They're already waiting for next week. It's already on calendar.
Oh, now you have to cut
you
that out.
You have been living under a rock in the sports world.
This is unedited, uncensored. Say whatever you want. Drew, I don't care what you have to say.
Go ahead, Drew.
This is my
Go.
Segment.
Go.
All right. So everyone knows unless you've been living under a rock in the sports whole agenda that Juwan Howard has been in a nice little friendly conversation with the Wisconsin coach on Sunday's game. So Wisconsin at home against Michigan on Sunday afternoon. They win by 14 points. Michigan's head coach, Juwan Howard, did not like the fact that Wisconsin's head coach called a timeout with under a minute left when this is what I don't understand. Calls a timeout. The Juwan Howard's upset that he called a timeout with his walk-ons, and when he's pressuring his walk-ons, why pressure them? So Drew was like, oh, let's just go look into this and say why would he press them? So anyways, beyond that story, guard put his hands on Howard at first, but Howard took it to a whole different level. I said throwing a punch because I don't really think it was a punch. I think it was more like a push to the face. He wouldn't really like making a fist and like popping him. But so the outcomes, Juwan Howard had suspended five games, which is the rest of the season because Michigan's not allowed to make the postseason. And he was fined $40,000. Greg Gard, who's a Wisconsin coach, fined $10,000. Michigan forwards Terrence Williams, I don't even know how to say that. And Wisconsin guard Kobe Neath, each suspended 1 game, and they all threw punches. So now we'll get into the thoughts on that. Howard said in his post-game interview that he was not. They asked him, like, if you didn't want him to call timeout, why would you, like, press him? And he said, we weren't pressing him. I just put someone to pressure the ball, which does not really make sense because that basically is the same thing. It can just be a man-to-man press. So what are your all's thoughts? Should Wisconsin's coach have called a timeout? I mean, he only had 3 seconds until the 10-second violation. And did they do the right thing on the too weak of a punishment or too strong of a punishment? I think they did it just about right. Where, I mean, Juwan Howard shouldn't be, doing a physical altercation like that with a coach, and the Wisconsin coach should not be putting his hands on him. Yeah, during a handshake, just shake the dude's hands and just, Juwan Howard, accept your L. Wisconsin, show your respect. Say, yes, we beat you all. Haha, you all suck, and then walk off the court and like every other normal team. So that's what I have.
I don't think the altercation starts if the Wisconsin coach doesn't put his hands on him. I don't know. I didn't see the need for that.
I didn't see the need for it either, but Juwan Howard,
you can't act like that as a head coach.
You can't do that as a head coach of a Power 5 school. I saw someone say that's like JUCO. I don't remember who said this, but it's like that's like JUCO stuff, man. Yeah, like you don't do that at Michigan. That's just fine. I mean, he should have never put his hands on him. But
yeah. I felt like I was watching the Netflix documentary Last Chance U for a second.
Yeah, it was like watching Last Chance U. Yeah.
I think Michigan does a really good job at hiring scumbag coaches, so it doesn't really surprise me at all. But what I really didn't understand was why the Wisconsin coach wanted to like hold him so much.
Yeah.
Like, what was the point? I guess they'd already exchanged words prior to the game ending. Because I think they already said something to each other.
Yeah.
But I mean, goodness. There was no.
I think Wisconsin coach just put his hands on him, asking him what he was doing for dinner that night. I don't know why Juwan Howard got so upset about it.
Yeah, I'm sure that's what he said.
I do think he should have been. The Wisconsin coach should have been suspended a game or two. Because
he just got fined. He only got fined $10,000.
He instigated the whole thing. Doesn't happen without him.
He definitely instigated.
You say that. Yeah. That's a good argument. But it was Juwan. Juwan could have just like shoved him. He tried to smack him.
I'm not. I think Juwan got the perfect punishment. I mean, I think he's also kind of lucky. He could have got fired for that.
Yeah,
I mean,
he definitely.
I don't think the punishment's over. I think this carries into the offseason.
I think this is kind of
I could imagine getting fired in the offseason.
I think it's more of like an indefinite suspension.
Because they haven't had a great season.
Yeah, for sure. They've very underwhelming.
Yeah, he'll be back for the NIT. Don't worry.
No, we won't. We're not even gonna make that. It'd be funny though if Juwan Howard gets suspended and an assistant coach just turns the team around, and then he's for sure gone.
They go undefeated.
They have the talent to be a good team.
He's just not a fan of the timeouts because of the Fab 5 days.
Gosh, that's so annoying. Whenever coaches do that, it's like when coaches in the NFL get mad at other coaches for like trying to break records at the end of the games, but they do it themselves. Like Juwan probably would have done the same thing in the same situation, especially since he pressured the ball.
He probably had flashbacks from when the Fab 5 called a timeout. They didn't have any left.
He was jealous.
Yeah.
He's like, man, you call a timeout.
Like, how they
I understand. I really don't understand if they're like, the game is over. Why do you call a timeout? If they're gonna pressure the ball, you don't pressure the ball if the game's over.
Yeah.
That's what he was saying. That's what he said in the post game. He was like, the game was obviously over. Then don't pressure the ball.
Well, that doesn't make any sense.
I think Juwan Howard knows he screwed up. He just didn't want to admit it because a lot of those guys have such big egos. Especially that he doesn't want to admit he was in the wrong.
He clearly has an ego if he thought he could hit a coach after a game.
He has a big ego.
I thought it was funny whenever he was walking off walking into the locker room and a fan tried to get him to sign their jersey.
Did he do it?
No.
Why
But they're
not?
like holding the jersey out, begging for him to sign it, and he's like,
Yeah.
"Is that all?
That was
All right.
Anything else?" Great breakdown, Drew. I'm so proud of
Yeah.
you. You did your research.
All right. Moving over on into NCAA.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot.
The actual. I mean, we can just the teams have been looking the best in the Power Five. He was started
Yeah.
off.
Yeah, so basically we're just gonna give our top 2 teams from each Power 5 plus the Big East because the Big East is better than the ACC. Jerry, you can go.
For the ACC, I said Duke and didn't really have another team, but I said because of sleeper team, who actually has a surprising good athletic year, Wake Forest.
Yep.
Is
Good underrated pick.
So, you guys for the ACC, you guys had Duke and Wake Forest, or Jerry?
I had Notre Dame.
Okay,
because
Okay, you can go.
Notre Dame's going to make the tournament because they have a great win over Kentucky at home. People forget about that one, but I think they're 12-4 in conference play. I mean, a bad ACC doesn't deny the fact that a 12-4 record in conference play is good because they got to go on the road and win.
Conference
They're a
play
tournament.
middle
They're one of the few tournament teams in the ACC. I like them a lot. They got some depth.
I had Florida State as my second ACC.
Oh, yeah.
Why are you looking?
Shout
at
out
that?
Coach Siemens. Shout out Jason Siemens.
They had Duke's number
Yeah,
twice.
that's true. But not twice. They only beat them once.
But the second time they had their number still.
I forget who. I think they played North Carolina, and they were down like 25-2 at the start of the game. So
I just put Florida State because they've really been the only team that has really.
Yeah, I mean it's a tailward ACC this year.
It's
not
bad.
usual for them.
No, by far the worst conference. Who do you think
Yeah.
is? All right, let's take a vote. Who do you think is the next worst conference after Duke?
Pac-12.
Pac-12.
I don't know, dude. Pac-12 has been looking nice.
They have some
Arizona,
solid
USC,
teams. They have some solid
UCLA.
teams.
I think they have 3 teams. That's it.
What about the Big East? The Big East.
Big East is
Big East is not Power 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I consider them more Power 5 than Pac-12 sometimes. You look at Pac-12.
Pac-12's bottom is bad.
It's terrible. Oregon State's never been
Pac-12 is always
good.
bad on the bottom.
Actually, that's a lie. Oregon State had a great run last year.
Yeah. They beat my team. Anyway,
Your team.
we'll do the Pac-12, even though I don't necessarily think they might be the worst team. They just have a terrible bottom.
UCLA and Arizona.
Okay, Jerry.
I have Arizona USC because
So do
USC's
I.
beat UCLA twice. 2-0.
I
against them.
think UCLA is very overrated.
Yeah, I think it's just because
Final
they're
4 team last year. Final 4 team.
Doesn't matter.
They're underperforming.
College
That's why they're
basketball
so high
last year
this year. They've
stats don't mean
underperformed.
anything.
When they get hot in March, remember this.
I mean, Johnny.
Or when
Jr.
they're second round exit, remember this.
Or when they're national champions, remember this.
What?
I'm gonna make a bold prediction.
I just think Arizona and USC are the 2 best. UCLA is obviously a close third. They just haven't been able to beat. They're, I think, 1-3 against Arizona and USC combined. So that was my reasoning.
USC at some points has looked like a really good team, and other times they've looked like they don't know how to play basketball. They just need to learn how to be consistent. Come March, March is right around the corner. Frick.
They're
What?
I'm a big fan of their point guard, Boogie Ellis. Duke transfer, then a Memphis transfer. But he hit a game winner recently. He's a tough player. I like him a lot.
Yeah, he knows how to boogie.
Yeah. A boogie bomb.
Hopefully he'll be dancing in March. Ah!
Use
Get
broken mic.
Do you get it?
All right, let's move on to Big
All right,
East.
SEC is easy.
No.
Yeah,
Big
SEC
East.
is easy. Kentucky and Auburn.
Kentucky and Auburn.
Kentucky and Tennessee.
Whatever.
Okay.
Hey,
Big-
hey, hey. Hear my reasoning out. Hear my reasoning out. If
Don't try and say that anyone is. It's pretty obvious who the top 2 teams in the SEC.
okay, let me talk. If March Madness was in Auburn,
just wasting
Alabama, if March Madness was in Auburn, Alabama, Auburn's definitely the best team in the nation. But boy, do they struggle on the road. They struggled with a terrible Florida team on the road. They struggled with a terrible Georgia team on the road. They're just
Missouri.
not a good road team. And that's all March Madness is. A bunch of neutral court games. We're not going to have a sold-out Auburn stadium because no one else lives in Alabama besides Auburn or Alabama fans.
Yep, I agree with you. It's gonna they definitely have to step up.
And Auburn's big away stretch is about to occur. So we'll see what they're really made of. But sometimes they've looked like the best teams, and sometimes they've looked like they don't know how to play basketball either.
Yeah.
So I mean, especially they just got upset by Florida. Florida's bottom level.
Florida just lost to Arkansas today, so
Man,
I don't think Florida's a tournament team.
neither do I. That shows even worse how Auburn is.
Let's
Anyway,
let's do Big 12. Who do you guys have top two?
I have Texas Tech
Kansas.
and Kansas.
Yeah, Texas Tech and Kansas.
I have
think-
Texas
what was
Tech as my
other
number
team?
one.
What's my other team that I had?
Like a sleeper team.
Yeah, I thought I had another team. No.
I think
I
Texas Tech is the best team in that conference.
Texas Tech can easily end up beating Kansas in the Big 12.
Who's
Well,
that?
Big 10.
Big 10 and Big East.
Okay.
For Big 10, I had Purdue, and then that second team's up for grabs. I put
Purdue and
Illinois. I put
Yeah,
Illinois.
Purdue
Me
and
too.
Illinois.
Me too.
Just because of Kofi Coburn.
Kofi Cockburn.
He can win you a ton of games. And then Big East, I have Villanova and Providence.
Yeah,
Although
those gimmies.
I would consider moving Providence out for Connecticut.
That's what I had. Providence looked like they were really good. Kind of stunk it up last week. So
Connecticut beat Villanova today, so that's a
Really?
big one for them. Yeah,
even better. UConn and Nova is my top two.
yeah.
So now we pretty much agreed on pretty much everything besides you didn't like my Florida State take
Yeah, that was a
or
bad
my
one.
Tennessee take. I'm telling you.
You're just a little biased, buddy.
Play Auburn and Thompson bowling. See what happens.
Go play Auburn at their place.
I told you, Auburn is the best team at home, but away, they don't know how to play basketball when you don't have
That's true.
15,000 fans cheering you on.
That's true.
I think,
A lot of teams like
I think
that,
we
though.
need to head down to Aaron's favorite game.
What?
The hot seat game.
Oh, no, we're not done. We're not done yet. We're ending with mine.
Yeah, that's last.
You're trying to derail the show. All right.
You're go ahead and mute yourself for the rest of the show.
Jerry will just end the show. You can go ahead and go to bed. I'll tuck you in later. So now let's discuss the most overrated and underrated teams in NCAA.
Yeah.
I'll go first with my very bold pick. My most overrated team is Gonzaga. They're number one, but goodness, I do not think they are built for March. Because they just
Most
beat-
overrated. Wait,
Who
go
do you have?
Sorry, I thought you were done. I thought you were done.
Who do you have?
Auburn and Gonzaga.
Okay, Jerry, who do you have?
Yeah, I have Baylor. And let me give you my
Baylor's
reasons
not-
why.
I think Baylor's respect is diminishing though. I think they're people.
Baylor
Yeah,
has
their respect is dropping down. They're dropping down in AP.
before they're still top 10 though. I'm pretty sure they were.
I think
12
they're
or
10
something?
now.
Yeah, they were 10. They're 10.
They
yeah.
have one good win, and that's over Nova. But Nova played the worst offensive game I've ever seen in my life. They put up 36 points.
That
They
was-
lost twice to Texas Tech, lost by 30 to Kansas, and lost to a streaky Alabama team. So, and I think they're a second round exit at best. So I'm not high on that Baylor team.
The reason my Gonzaga team is they beat teams like School of Deaf, School of the Blind, and then they're supposed to be ready for March. I mean, Gonzaga's made it far, but they've never been able to do the deed because they're playing a bunch of kids who Drew could beat one-on-one.
That's saying a lot.
So at the end of the day, how good are they? We don't know. We don't know
Yeah.
how good they are. They struggle. With
I keep
BYU.
saying they need to join the Pac-12.
And,
They're
yeah,
not
until
gonna
then,
come
I don't
anyone.
think they'll ever win a national championship.
They struggle with BYU, a bunch of Mormon kids. Like, how good really are they?
Yeah.
Also, I forgot to hit on this. How did Tennessee go down the AP poll? What is this?
I think
It's a real life logic.
All right,
I
that's
think
all I wanted to
AP
say.
poll is one of the worst of the rankings in college.
Let me
Now it
rank
don't
'em.
matter because now they do that show on Saturday where they re-rank them like an actual thing, like it was
The
real
bracket,
March
is
Madness.
it the bracketology thing?
Yes.
The thing they do on CBS.
Is it
Eight.
bracketology?
The AP poll is pretty much dead now because it doesn't matter in college football or college basketball really
Yeah,
anymore.
it's just coming down to a committee. Like, what's the point in it? Well, why do we
It's
even
just a
follow
week
it
by
anymore?
week thing. It's just a week by week thing to let fans know where they think they're at. But I mean, it doesn't really matter. In my
Let me
opinion, I
do
don't
it.
think.
You want to hear mine?
No.
Tennessee, none of the rest matter.
All right. First round exit, buddy.
The 5-12 game, they're done.
All right. Everybody give you your most underrated.
Michigan
I can
State.
start. That's cool.
Michigan State just caught peace tonight.
No, but Michigan State can make
Prior to
runs.
this.
It's because they lost to Iowa.
Who'd they
Iowa's the
play?
best team in the
They
country.
played Iowa again. They played Iowa.
They played at 7. They played at Iowa and they lost by 25.
Okay, but
I don't
listen to the other losses. Kansas, Baylor, Wisconsin, Illinois twice. Penn. Those are really good losses, and then they have terrible losses to
I'm gonna give you
Penn
a
State,
hot take
Rutgers,
here.
and Northwestern.
I'm gonna give you a hot take. Michigan State's got a really tough schedule coming up. I could see them miss the tournament.
Yeah.
I hope not.
It depends
hope
what they do
not.
in the conference tournament. If they're a 1 and exit, then I could see that.
I think they're one and done. I don't think they make the tournament.
Don't count out Tommy.
My
I wouldn't go
Underrated.
against Tom Izzo.
yeah he beat that Duke team, one of the probably the greatest Duke team over their Coach K
Yeah, I can't believe they lost. That doesn't make any sense.
with Cassius Winston.
The goat.
Goodness.
The goat.
My underrated team is not in the top 25.
Neither's mine.
It's-
Michigan State isn't. Michigan State isn't.
Mine is North Texas. What wins you
dig deep
games?
for that one?
They're actually they were 30th in receiving votes, so get wrecked. But
What are we doing here?
what wins you games in the tournament is defense. Am I wrong?
Or
You're wrong.
offense.
When your
Or
offense
both
is
sides of the ball.
Okay.
Basketball's honestly a
Yeah.
two-pronged approach.
Yeah, Aaron.
Yeah. And
You only
also,
knew
Yeah, you got
Who
to
does
play.
North
only knew
Texas
how to do
have?
one. You
who's
only
on
knew how to
North
do one.
Texas?
You only knew how to do one. So what do you know about defense?
Ready for this? Butt down, knees shoulder width apart, hands out. You need to be at least 6'10".
All right. What I was
Who does
saying
North
about
Texas
North
have?
Texas is they are number 1 in defense and points per game allowed.
Who are they playing?
They played Kansas
School
and
to
held
death.
them to 65.
I heard
Did they lose?
wasn't that an exhibition game?
They lost by 8. No.
I'm
just saying.
Left out the part of this outcome of the game.
All right. Who's your most underrated, Drew?
No. Not to mess with you. That's actually a good team to most. They're definitely under. I don't know about underrated. They might be underlooked.
I'm saying they could be a Sweet 16 in March Madness
Definitely a Cinderella story.
because they're going to be a 12 or 15 seed and they can or 13 seed.
Or
And
that
they can upset
13-4.
teams.
They've won
Yes.
the 13-4 before.
And when you have a team like that can play defense, they can beat some teams. So
All right,
That's why I
Aaron's
picked
gonna get mad at me for this because I still stand by this. My most underrated, which they're not really, but when it comes to March, I think they can be overlooked because of how they played this season, and it's UCLA.
No.
Solely because the reason they brought back pretty much everybody, and they were a Final Four team last
Did you
year.
say no?
no.
They're not really underrated. They're like what 13th in the nation right now. They're gonna be like a 3 or 4 seed.
Yeah, but I'm saying everyone's saying they're like right now they're not good. Wait until March.
I'll wait for that.
Yeah, we'll wait and we'll come back on that.
13 upset. I hope they play North Texas.
Yeah, I
first
hope
round.
they play North Texas. Yeah, I hope they play North Texas first round.
Yeah, I'll put $100,000 on
Maybe
that game. I'll buy a lot of North
That'd be
Texas
so
gear
funny if
just
they
for that
played-
game.
All right, if UCLA plays North Texas, no matter where they play at, we're going to it.
Yeah, and if North Texas holds them under 55 points, I'm laughing at both your faces.
It doesn't matter. They have to score more points.
And then they get bounced in the round of 32.
Yeah, I don't care. They beat UCLA. All right,
What is going on? My mic is
Final Four teams.
Final Four. All right, I'll give mine. Prior to tonight's loss, Purdue, Villanova, Kentucky, And then Tennessee. Yeah, so that's my 14. All right. I'll be serious. Kentucky, Purdue, Villanova, and Texas Tech.
Yeah, I like that. I have Kentucky, Texas Tech, Purdue. I think that fourth team could be anyone. I had wrote down a couple. I put Gonzaga can make it. I see this year's Iowa team, like that Auburn team that made the Final Four. I mean, they just have a bunch of shooters. Can't beat shooters. And then Villanova. I can see one of those three teams
I
make
can even
it.
see UConn. UConn's historically good at making a run.
Texas,
Kentucky,
Texas underrated too.
Kentucky, Texas Tech, Houston, and Illinois.
Yeah, I love the Houston one. That was my my dark horse team. They are fifth in defensive points per game allowed.
They are a great program that no one talks about.
One of the best head coaches in the country.
Houston had a really good run.
Yeah.
When
The one thing,
year ago,
if
2 years
Houston
ago?
had Marcus Sasser, I don't know if you guys know who that is, but that's their star point guard. He averaged 18 points a game. He's out for the rest of the season. But if they had him, I would actually consider them a title contender.
All right,
But-
Drew, do you have any? You said that, Jerry. You said Houston was your dark horse.
Yeah, I love the Houston
Do you
team.
have any
Me
other
and Drew
dark
been going back
horses?
and forth about them.
Do you have any other
Yeah.
dark horses? Any other dark horses, Drew, Jerry?
I have
No.
I can see Texas. Texas is a good one. Texas or
Okay.
Iowa.
All right.
Texas can defend. They have a couple good guards.
They have a GOAT, Devin Askew.
Worst 5-star of all time.
He's a no star.
Yeah,
Drew, who do
but
you?
that's mine.
Who do you have as a dark horse?
Murray State.
Okay. Good Kentucky home team.
Yeah, making the home team proud.
I had
Yeah.
Murray State and Davidson.
I have
Never
North
count out-
Texas.
Never count out Davidson.
Yeah, we know.
North Texas. Just
I think
just to let you
Davidson
guys
can make
know.
a run. Davidson Sweet 16. They're sponsored by Steph Curry. They'll be surprised when you're gonna see Davidson, Murray State, North Florida, North Texas, and Florida State Final Four.
Series going all the north.
How many Norths did I say?
North Florida, North
I didn't mean to
Texas.
say North Florida. I meant to say North Texas, Florida State, Davidson, and Murray State. That's my Final Four.
Say North Texas.
I did.
Attaboy. All right.
If I was stupid, that would be mine. All
All right.
right.
Let's move on.
Yeah,
We
but
pretty much
Aaron, do you
milked
know how
that.
many points? You know how many points they hold teams?
They probably hold teams at 55 points, but score 35 a game. They can be by 20 nightly.
They're 23-4, idiots.
Yeah, against who?
Doesn't matter.
South Texas.
South
I'm just
Texas.
saying,
They
Defense
played-
can win you championships.
They played Texas State.
At least I didn't pick a team like UCLA who's top 15.
Yeah, but you're mad at it.
All right.
All
All
right,
right.
move on.
Let's transition into this is my segment called Aaron's Hot Seat. Come take a seat on Daddy's lap.
Never say that again.
Where what we're gonna do is I'm gonna give Jerry and Drew have seen my prompts already. They prepared before the show. I'm gonna give them first. I'm gonna give the first question. Whoever I think gives the best answer in 30 seconds gets a point. Then I give them another prompt. If they get to that prompt, who again, same rules. Whoever has a better take, in my opinion, this is all subjective. If you're the viewer, shut the frick up. This is my brain. If the same person wins that, they win the whole thing. They get whatever they want it to say for 30 seconds to end the show. If not, if it's a tie game of a tiebreaker, whoever says that, of course, also wins the show. They get to end the show however they want, leave you on a bad note because both of these guys cannot say anything good in 30 seconds. All right, the first question. There recently has been a picture floating around with Mount Rushmore with the most influential NBA players of all time. On that are LeBron, Kobe, Jordan, and Curry. Drew, you can go first. Who are your 4 most influential NBA players of all time? Go.
All right, first one, Michael Jordan. Self-explanatory, 6 NBA rings. He is the greatest basketball player of all time. He's got to be on there. Number 2, LeBron. He is the greatest player. MJ had the better mentality, which makes him better. But LeBron, what he's been able to do is carry different teams. He's number 2. Number 3, Kobe. Kobe had the mentality. He had the all-time greatest mentality. He was loyal to his team. He brought titles. He did everything.
5.
He played with different guys.
5 seconds.
And third, and the fourth and last one, Bill Russell, 11 rings, most rings all time. Goated.
Okay. Jerry, you're up. Go.
All right. Number 1, Michael Jordan. Everybody wants to be like Mike. Number 2, Steph Curry. Go to any local gym, and I guarantee you all the kids are shooting 3-point shots right now. Number 3, Kobe. If you shoot something in the trash, everybody's going to say, Kobe. And then number 4, and I think this is the best one, AI. He brought hip-hop culture to the NBA.
With seconds to spare, Drew, I'm not gonna cap with you. You just got blown out of the water. You left off Curry and Allen Iverson?
Yes.
How? Curry has revolutionized the game of basketball. Allen Iverson.
How is Allen Iverson on the Mount Rushmore basketball?
Influential.
What are we doing here? Allen Iverson had white kids getting braids. What are we talking about?
You didn't say it was influential.
Bill Russell. Tell me how Bill Russell's influenced the game.
Yeah.
You didn't say influential. You said Mount Rushmore.
I said Mount Rushmore most influential people. Let's look at the text.
Oh.
Hold on. I sent out the prompt.
He did. He did say that. I think Drew just
most
read it
influential. Wrong. Drew, you just lost on a reading error.
Okay, then I'll accept my L. But if this is not influential, then I win.
You got to admit, AI is the most influential.
Jerry gave my list. LeBron is definitely up there, but these guys.
He was hard. He was my 5th.
I mean, Jordan, Curry.
Everybody
Kobe,
wants to be like Mike.
That's be like Mike. Then you have Curry, who's changed the.
All right, let him go first next time.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll go first for this one. I'll start.
Also, I loved the trash can thing. All right. The next prompt. All-Star Weekend was a little bit boring, a little underwhelming, especially the dunk contest. People said it was the worst of all time. So it's it keeps ever since 2016, every single year they said this is the worst dunk contest ever, which in my opinion is recency bias because there's been some terrible dunk contests in the past, but we got so good. We salivated over Eric Gordon and Zach LaVine that we now think everyone should be godly at dunks. What can we do to make viewers more excited about All-Star Weekend? Jerry, 30 seconds. You're up. Go.
What I would say about the dunk contest is you go back to the old rules with the shot clock. I mean, nobody wants to watch Jalen Green go 1 for 10 in the dunk contest. He's shooting like he is an actual NBA game. All-Star game, you should play for home court advantage. I think that would be cool in the finals. Something that's cool to add. And then if you want to get rid of the dunk contest, I say you add a 1v1 or a 3v3 tournament. Make a huge $1 million cash prize. Goes to their charity of player's choice. The only reason why it's not in is because of egos.
Time. All right. Very good. Very, very good. Drew, how are we going to make All-Star Weekend a better place? A more exciting, fun time for the viewer. Go.
Well, considering Jerry stole my first one, I have said this from the very beginning. The best thing that MLB does that better no other league is the fact that in their All-Star games, they give the winner, you just go back to old East versus West, and the winner gets the home court in the NBA Finals because they'll actually play, because they'll actually mean something for LeBron. If he goes to the finals, he's going to want to have home court. It's a huge thing. My next thing, Jerry stole it, the shot clock, so I'm just going to skip over that. My third and final one, he did not say, they do not do East versus West. Instead of doing live draft, or instead of doing a draft before on TNT, whatever, they do a live draft. Like it's pickup basketball in the streets, like recess in the schoolyard.
Okay. Just to hit on shot clock, that's probably my least favorite out of all of them just because the other one's really good. Yeah, no one wants to see Jalen Green break every single shot. Why are we missing dunks in the dunk contest? They definitely did not practice. The 1v1 I really like is just you'd have players, like you said, it's an ego thing. Imagine seeing your favorite player get dropped off. The home court is definitely my favorite because that's what reason the All-Star game. That's what makes the MLB All-Star game worth watching because it actually has an outcome. And then Drew, what I thought was funny is just the idea of the best players. Just like imagine Kevin Durant looking James Harden in his face while he passes up on him every single time. And LeBron's just sitting there like, okay. Imagine James Harden leaving the All-Star game just because he got picked last, which is what happened this year. Because of that, you guys pretty much had the same thing, but Drew added that. So I'm gonna give Drew the point. You guys can cry about it later. I'm proud of you, Drew. Who was all right? I just want to see a tiebreaker as well, because this is also one of my favorite questions to ask. But there was the NBA celebrated their 75th anniversary by dropping a 75 of all time list. It was very, very bad. Now, I want each of you to give one snub who should have made the list but didn't, and I want you to tell me what player they should have replaced. Since Jerry won the first one, you will go again first. 30 seconds. Go.
Me or Jerry going first?
Jerry, you're going first. Jerry.
Well, I went first last time. It's Drew's turn.
Fine. All right. This is how we'll determine who goes first. From now on, this is how we'll determine who goes first. I have a number behind my back. Drew, pick. What number is it?
2.
Drew, you go first. 30 seconds. What player should have been on it? What bomb should have been left off? Go.
All right. Player that should have been left on or put on Superman, 8-time All-Star, 3-time Defensive Player of the Year, and NBA champion Dwight Howard. He is a cultural legend when you pull out Superman and the dunk contest. And the dunk contest was entertaining. He is an NBA champ, 8-time All-Star, and he's also 8-time All-NBA. What? And he should replace Paul Arizin, who I don't even know who that was. I just looked at the list, didn't even know who that was. Played in the 1950s. He was a 3-time All-NBA player. Who was his competition? He played against nobody. So get that bum out, Dwight Howard.
Time. Okay. Jerry, 30 seconds. You're on the clock. Go.
I think the obvious answer is Dwight Howard, but I went a different direction. I put Pau Gasol, 6-time All-Star, 4-time All-NBA, 2-time champ. Kobe does not win those 2 rings without him, and a 1-time Rookie of the Year. And he's going to replace the guy who has 1 accolade, Damian Lillard. He doesn't run from the grind.
Okay, you have 15 seconds to spare. This leaves me in a predicament. We are ending the show in a predicament because this is all my opinion, and I think Drew definitely won with the player. Even though if you guys would have said Tracy McGrady, you guys would have. Because as you can see, I'm wearing a Tracy McGrady Raptors jersey. He should have been in there. He's already a Hall of Famer. It doesn't make any sense because Dame Lillard is a player who should have replaced. The guy who has 1 Rookie of the Year, and the rest are just don't run from the grind stats. He has the guy you named Drew has 3 more All Pros than Damian Lillard has because Damian Lillard's only accolade is Rookie of the Year. So I don't know what we're gonna do to end the show. I have to come up with something off the top of my head. You guys can keep talking while I think of something. I'm just gonna keep talking until I think of something. Both very good points. Great first 3 rounds. What am I gonna do for the end of the show to determine who's the winner? Okay. Here's what we're gonna do. You guys, this is originally gonna be my tiebreaker. If you watched All-Star Weekend, you saw that in between the 3-point contest and the dunk contest, they brought Aisha Curry and Steph Curry on the stage, as well as 2 Chainz and whatever the heck his wife's name is. They both had to be blindfolded, and they had to tell which. I don't even know how it went down. They just basically they
answered questions on the other.
Answered questions based on each other, and if they both said the right person, then they got a point. I want each of you to tell me who is the better couple and why.
I'll go first since Drew went first last time. Obviously, 2 Chainz is the better couple with this girl. You could just tell the chemistry was better. Aisha Curry even said that she only dresses up to impress other men, L woman. 2 Chainz woman looked like she was in love with him. It's 2 Chainz. They got 4 out of 5 right. 2 Chainz is the easy winner.
Okay, Drew.
Jerry just said that because you don't want to be looked at as a racist on the podcast. So I'm going with absolutely Steph Curry just because sports above all else. Steph is the greatest shooter of all time. That's all I got to say.
Both very, very different takes. And because this is a sports podcast, Drew, you win. I want 30 seconds. Drew was very disappointed. The only answer I was looking for is Steph Curry. 2 Chainz isn't even a basketball player. He shouldn't have been on the thing to begin
Isn't a
with.
celebrity game.
Why was it? What is this for? The only correct answer I was looking for is why was 2 Chainz on the stage during All-Star Weekend? Drew, 30 seconds. Say whatever you want to say. End the show off in a bang. 30 seconds. Go.
First off, I would like to thank our host, Aaron Abrahamson. I would like to thank Nate Valentine for giving me the opportunity to display my talents in high school that led me to being a part of this podcast. I would like to thank my dog for being my woman for a long time. I'd like to thank my 2 co-hosts for sharing their girlfriends with me. And I would like to thank God. So that's all I got.
All right, that's time. Jerry, just because you look so pissed off, you have 5 seconds to say whatever you want to end the show as the outro. Go.
This is the last time I'll be on the show. I enjoyed it.
See you next week.